Hi. Well, I'm just going to do a short podcast to give my opinion on the Republican first debate for the presidential election in 2024. Been a lot of people giving their opinions, and I'm just going to add myself to the chorus. I didn't think that it was a very good debate. There was no debate. It was just basically, it seemed very rehearsed. It seemed more like a play. People had rehearsed lines. They were fighting to stick those rehearsed lines somewhere in the program because, they had planned it. And so they kind of knew the questions and they knew what they were supposed to say. And so there was no passion. I didn't feel like I got to really know anybody. Some of the people faded in the background, including a Scott, who a lot of people said, has a nice personality and they thought he would do better. The young person, he was nice to see in that it showed that it is the start of young people coming into the process, and I think he will, just by his presence, encourage more young people to start getting active for the high positions in our government. He, again, was very rehearsed. He was wild. I didn't think that he was presidential. The whole thing kind of reminded me of back in school when people would run for class president or something, and then they would have this so-called debate, but it really wasn't a debate. People had their rehearsed lines, and so it kind of reminded me of that. I wasn't impressed with anybody really, but it did show. I was surprised with Pence in that he did say a lot, and he did stick up for his stance on January 6, 2021, when he refused to concede to the fake electors and throw the election to Trump just by chaos and confusion. I was kind of impressed with him, but overall Pence has been pretty much a puppet for Trump, and I think whatever he was saying I couldn't believe, because I think anytime a person starts chanting "hang Pence" and Pence doesn't get upset or really say what the heck is going on. In fact, he had to be escorted out of his office, down the back stairs, into a garage for safety, for his own personal safety. I mean, the craziest thing in the world. And he has no passion. He's still riding the Trump train because he knows that Trump gets in billions of dollars through these donations from his supporters, and everybody wants to get to the money, and they know that with that money comes votes, and so with Trump you're more likely to get elected. But I want people to speak from their heart. I want to know exactly what they're feeling. I want to know kind of, as best they can tell it what they themselves want to do. All the candidates, the men were dressed like Trump with the blue jacket, the white shirt, and the red tie. And I kind of got the feeling they were all trying to tell Trump via the TV that, hey, if you're looking for somebody to be in your next cabinet or to work with you during your next presidency, after you win in 2024, I would be a very good supporter. I would be there. I'd have your back. And, don't forget to look at me as a person who would be able to function in your cabinet. So I wasn't impressed, but it was good that they did come out and get themselves better known. And we'll just see how it goes. Trump got his picture done today in Fulton County, and his picture kind of reminds me of, well, he looks angry, he looks as if he's out for revenge. He looks like a mobster, frankly, to me. So it looks like, as far as the RICO case, it looks like we got the RICO head. And, you know, it kind of also reminded me that this guy, this old man, was probably the same when he was a kid. You know, when he was a kid, his father knew that he had a problem. He didn't get along with people. He had a social problem, so his father put him in a military reform school so that he could kind of improve his character. And I don't know how many years Trump spent there, but it just is the same character. When you look at his picture from Fulton County, he has probably the same kind of face he probably gave to his father, to his relatives, to his brother before he died from alcoholism. And, you know, a person with problems. He's a person with problems, mental problems. And it doesn't mean that he's a great guy just because people want him to be president. It means he's kind of like James Cagney. You know, I could picture him being the street guy, the guy threatening people, the tough guy. You know, is that really who you want for president? I don't think so. And then, of course, he's really, really behind Putin, and we're giving all this money and weapons that can be used against us if Russia wins, because they'll just go in and take all of our military stuff and use it against us. But he's for Putin, so what's he going to do as president when Putin's his, you know, best friend, and we're supporting the other side, the Ukrainian people. So, you know, all of that is very, very confusing, and everybody talks negatively about China, but of course his daughter, Ivanka, has 800 patents that she uses in China, and she sells items through China. Now that's a lot of money, 800 items, 800 patents that she got through her father when she was working in the White House, although she was totally unqualified for that job, as was her husband, Jared Kushner. But, you know, nepotism. You know, if anyone else had done that, gotten the job of president, and then brought in his 2 kids, plus, well, he had all his kids, plus Jared, who's his son-in-law. You know, next time he's president, he'll probably bring in his grandkids. Just absolutely ridiculous. But, you know, he's just not trustworthy. I don't know what he would do as president. He's a wild card. He does what he wants. He calls people names. He has a lot of hate, a lot of revenge. He went through all of this stuff about the riggers. I just don't feel comfortable with this man. I don't feel he's a good role model for what the kids should want to be. He's showing that, hey, if you can't cut the mustard the regular way, you just force yourself in. You just get a gang, you just force your way in, you do what you want, you don't care about the rules, and then if the rules get in your way, you threaten people, you get people to do illegal things to help you out. Now, Trump has threatened the people in Georgia, the Republicans in Georgia. They have passed a law in Georgia to get Fani Willis out of her job as DA because she is prosecuting Trump and his criminal, illegal gang organization, because they tried to steal 11,780 votes from people who didn't vote for him during the 2020 election, and he was intimidating the Secretary of State with a phone call. He was calling the Secretary of State dumb. He was saying he wasn't going to get reelected. He said, people don't like you. He threatened and said, you're doing stuff that's illegal and this could really come back to hurt you. There were all kinds of threats on that phone call. And, that's illegal. He's stealing votes. Our vote's the most important thing, supposedly, in this country. And when Fani Willis went to protect the people of her county, now the Republicans saying, well, we don't want you to protect the people of our county. We just want to get Trump in. And to get Trump in, we're willing to pass laws so that we can fire you. This has not ever been done before. They have no rules where they could just go in. I assume she's an elected official, but now they have made it so that the governor can go in and just say, even though she's an excellent DA, she's done a lot of RICO trials in the past and has been very successful. I think she has one going on now, which is very successful. But in October, so that's a month and a half or less, about a month from now, they want to be able to go in through new laws passed by a board picked by the governor and legislation pushed through the legislature with the Republicans to go in and just claim that Fani Willis is not doing her job, that she's a bad DA, and they want to kick her out so that they can get Trump out of this RICO case, because they're going to drop it all as soon as they get her out, and then Trump won't have to worry about having to answer for the intimidation and threats that he did against the Secretary of State of Georgia when he was looking for 11,780 votes. In other words, he wanted to steal the votes of 11,780 people in Georgia, in Fulton County. So it's all very disheartening, and it shows there's so much corruption in our government. It's just very, very sad, and it makes people want to be corrupt. I mean, why in the world would you go in as an honest person trying to do your best, which always leaves you in a weaker spot, and you can just go in as a corrupt person, get a lot of people behind you, get money behind you, pay for things for people, and then get all of the charges dropped, and then you walk away as if you're a good citizen, and you blame the good people for bad actions when they really didn't do anything bad at all. It's all very, very disheartening, but, we'll have to see how it goes. And, of course, just today, Putin, Donald Trump's best buddy, he killed Prigozhin, who was the head of a warring military group that was spreading wars through Africa, Ukraine, and other places. But Prigozhin came one day, marched into Moscow, and said, he was taking over. It was a coup. And then when Putin confronted him, Prigozhin said, well, I wasn't really doing a coup. I just wanted to ask that our military be given the tools they need to fight, the food, the support, basically from Putin. Putin said, yeah. He sent him to Belarus, which is another place where it's led by one person, authoritarian rule. And everyone knew that Prigozhin was going to be killed, but it wasn't sure when. Well, today that was done when Prigozhin and some of the people that he supervised high up in the military of the Wagner Group, which is the military group that Prigozhin heads, they were in a plane, and once they got into the air, some bombs went off in the plane, and everybody, I believe there were 10 people on the plane, and they were killed. So, this is the world we're in, and I I don't have much hope. If it continues this way, it's very depressing. And we see people totally unqualified to run a government, to be trusted. They have Mark Meadows, who, according to what I found, only has a 1 year of college after high school. And who knows how he did in high school? Who knows how he did in college? He might have even been kicked out of college. Who knows? But he was kind of like the second in command. He was White House chief of staff under Trump. And then we had other people in that White House. We had a guy who sells pillows. We had a person who was in charge with, what's that called? Overstock.com, which sells merchandise that's in excess from the stores, and so they sell it at a discount on the internet. And people like that, I mean, these people aren't government people. They aren't ready to be leaders of a country. They don't represent the people of the country. But I think it's one of the dumbest groups. It has to be one of the dumbest groups that ever to be functioning in the White House. And these people are all about money and greed, and the fact that they have access to power through Trump, because Trump likes to surround himself with a bunch of dumbheads, because that way he can look intelligent, and he doesn't like people who are real intelligent. And in fact, he tries to get rid of them if they start, showing their expertise and telling him things that they suggest that he do, or that he accomplish, or things that he shouldn't do, or if he thinks they're going to report him because he's doing illegal stuff. It is a mess. And now it looks like we're headed for another 4 years if he should win. I just hope the Republicans are smart enough to know that this is not going to help us in any way. Trump is just one man. He's an old man. He's not the type of person going to do anything as far as historically to help our country. He's not going to do anything to help our kids. He's not going to do anything to help our educational system. He's going to really have a lot of confusion as to what in the world we're doing internationally with these other countries. Right now we have Russia and China both circling above Canada, near Alaska. They want to march through Russia across to Alaska, and then march down through Canada into the United States. And if you look at what's going on in the United States, we've been selling a lot of land to China. A ton of businesses have been bought by China. We have spy planes coming across the United States, observing our facilities, our military facilities in the United States by Chinese spy planes. We have China buying land next to military bases. Just everything. And we have a push to keep out minority students from universities so that more and more Chinese students can come and be educated in American universities. And it's important to know that, I don't know how many Chinese are just American citizens and only have an allegiance to America, but I'm told that all Chinese who come from China or have relatives in China are considered Chinese citizens, and that they are in some way guided by China, even though they're living in the United States. So when they buy a big business, like maybe Ben and Jerry's or something like that, and they bring in hundreds of their workers from China into the United States to work at the business they just bought, those people will have children. They'll become American citizens by birth, but they will be Chinese at heart because they're going to keep going back to China to make sure they have the affiliation with China, and their parents have an affiliation with China, so they'll be raised as Chinese in America. I mean, China Chinese in America. Just a mess. Everything is a mess. And I don't see, with the type of graft and greed and corruption that we have, that I don't see that it's going to be an easy way out. Once this stuff takes over, it takes over. It's like moldy bread, you know, you just have to throw it away. And we'll have to see what happens. But I don't want to be too grim, you know. Hopefully we'll be able to find, I meet great people every day, and I don't understand why our government, our politicians are so terrible. But we'll have to see what happens. Wish, pray, hope, and I think this Fani Willis tale that's coming in October will tell us a lot about our future, what's really going on. And, you know, they even threatened to kill Fani Willis for doing her job as district attorney and protecting the people of her county. Oh, well, what can I say? Take care. Be good. I will talk to you later. Love you all. Bye.